Welcome to What's in the News for Leaders, the podcast that helps you cut through the noise and connect the headlines to your leadership. I'm your host, Andora Hinton, CEO of Willow North Growth Partners, and we're now deep into season 5, and we've had some amazing conversations, and today will not be any different. Here at What's in the News, we bring you bold insights, real conversations, and practical takeaways to help you lead with clarity, connection, and purpose in a fast-changing world. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite topics, safe spaces. It's a phrase that's been around for decades, but lately it's everywhere again. I feel like it ebbs and flows. It's showing up in workplace conversations, leadership articles, and even boardroom agendas. But what is a safe space really? And why does the conversation seem to ebb and flow over time? And why is it such a big deal right now? Today, I have a very special guest who this is also, I think, one of his favorite topics as well. Today, I have Martin Maurer, who has expertise in medtech supply chain, and he has been helping organizations bridge the gap between feel-good culture and functioning trust. So get your favorite coffee, your favorite drink, or both, and let's have a fundamental part of leading well, a really good conversation around safe spaces. So Martin, thank you so much for joining today. Before we get started, could you just share just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Andora. And first of all, thanks for having me on. And I don't pretend to be a finished work, right? I myself am progressing and advancing and learning like everyone that's tuning into the podcast, like we all are, hopefully. And so I do present myself as an unfinished work, but really happy to talk about a topic that means a lot to me. I've had the fortune of working for 30 years in the high-tech space, and then the last 7 years in the medtech space. I've worked in supply chain most currently, but I do have experience in marketing and sales, and also in Lean Six Sigma, which is now coined operational excellence. So I consider myself a reformed sales and marketing guy that works in supply chain. My most recent organization was over 100 people, both in product development, new product development, as well as what we call sustaining engineering or supporting product that's already out in the market space, so not new, if you will. And so I'm one of the critical elements that we have is, how do we create a high functioning team? How do we create a team that drives innovation? And I think a lot of managers and a lot of people that work on such teams, hopefully in your audience, will be able to take something away from our conversation today.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of that key word is high functioning. And in order to be high functioning, we must have a space that is safe enough for people to be innovative and share and have courage. So Martin, talk to me a little bit about how you define a safe space.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a safe space is a little bit of the middle. Right. I think as managers, we put a lot of time and effort, hopefully, into hiring the right people, promoting the right people, developing the right people on our team. And really what we look to have people do is to give them a voice, right? So that they can express their perspective and ideas. And that's kind of the raw material that, is the gold that you work with, right? That gets you to your end point of innovation. And then I think the second thing is you need to somehow create a space where those ideas, those perspectives, I'll use the term friction because I'm trying to create a spark, right? When I think about innovation. So how do you create constructive friction in a space where people feel that they're not being attacked, they're not being judged, they're avoiding being shamed, which is of course one of the things that everybody worries about the most. And for me, it's the art of creating that open space that allows those perspectives, those voices, and that spark. And that spark really creates the innovation and better outcomes. So this is about connecting better outcomes with diversity of thought. And the piece in the middle is that safe space that you did the great intro on.
That what you said about constructive friction connects me with something that we talk about around healthy conflict, which is a term that may have been coined by Patrick Lencioni. But I had someone in my workshop one time say, that sounds like an oxymoron. How can you have healthy conflict?
Yeah.
But you know what you said around that constructive friction is so important, because in order for people to learn and grow, sometimes there has to be a little bit of friction because of that diversity of thought. I always say, if everybody thought like me, this world would be a little bit crazy place. So I want people to not always think like me so I can learn.
Yeah. And so I would tell you there's been quite a bit of work done in this space in terms of getting diversity of team members done. One particular body of work I'm familiar with is Dr. Meredith Belbin. He did a lot of empirical research on how teams work. In fact, that's the name of one of his books,
Mm-hmm.
What Makes Teams Work. Essentially, I don't know whether to go for ice hockey analogy or basketball, but I'll go for ice hockey. I'll do both. I mean, if you
Okay.
have nothing but if you have 5 Wayne Gretzkys on the ice and Wayne Gretzky in goal, that's not an all-star team. That's not a team that's going to be able to be high functioning, right? You need a mix of offense, defense, goalkeeping, right? Just like if you had a basketball team full of LeBron James, is likely that's not going to be your best team construct, right? You're really looking to balance variety of skills, variety of physiques, a variety of what they all bring to the game, their experience, and that makes the team function better. And so you have to have those differences, but my view is there's no point in having those differences and that diversity if the space by which people can then express those differences doesn't exist. You're closing down the creativity, the insights that people bring, their collective experience, the better team outcome. So without the open space, you're not going to get that, the collective achieving a better result than the individual.
Yeah.
So the open space and creating that psychological safety is critical, I think, if you're gonna be running a team. And more of our work is being done in teams. So I think for managers of people, that's just becoming increasingly important.
That's so very true. And knowing how to do that effectively. So, Martin, as I was saying earlier, in my introduction, I feel like psychological safety has gone like this. It's like there
Mm-hmm.
was a time when it was really big. Amy Edmonds's book came out many years ago. I don't know if you've read her book or not,
Yeah.
but it came out many years ago. And then I just I'm in the midst of reading it right now. But a lot of our clients are now talking about psychological safety. We experience a lot of psychological safety with some of our participants that share with us that they may not feel like they can say certain things, and they may not even know that that's what it's called. But can you talk to me a little bit of why do you think that this topic resurfaces in conversation every few years? It's like it comes and then it goes away and then it comes
Yeah.
back. What's happening?
Yeah, I think some of it is, what's safe in an environment, the environment changes, right? And so the same recipe, if you will, doesn't always work. I'm going to talk a little bit about a structure I use to kind of check myself when I'm in one of these situations. I like that line, that safety of knowing there's a structure to guide my thinking. It allows repeatability, and if you do it right and you get it right, it works. And I think some of it is the environment always changes. You get changes of team members, and that can change a dynamic within a team. And it takes some skill. And so you look at those 3 variables as an example, and you can understand how it does kind of ebb and flow in terms of people's ability to continue to manage a team in that space. Because again, you get change in team member, you may have a change in circumstance around you, such as, for example, a downsizing that may go through a company that can change the environment very quickly, right? Where
Mhm.
people don't feel safe. And you yourself, as a people leader, need to always be on your game and sharpening your skills and being in tune to those changes so that you can continue to create that safe space for the team.